In 2023, a crack commando unit of retro podcasters joined forces on a panel at LA Comic-Con, but were sent to Comic-Con jail for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped. Today, still wanted by 80s nerds, they are very easy to find. If you have an 80s nostalgia problem, if no one else can help, maybe you can hire the Night Boys.
It was a bitter cold but sparkling clear morning at Cape Canaveral. Here, the last seconds of the countdown.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff. Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
All the communications between the shuttle and mission control indicated everything was going fine. There was a sense of relief that the much-delayed flight was finally underway.
Engines at 65%, 3 engines running normally, 3 good fuel cells, 3 good APUs. Engines throttling up, 3 engines now at 104%.
Challenger, go at throttle up.
Challenger, go at throttle up.
It happened just over 1 minute into flight.
1 minute, 15 seconds. Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles. Downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
From mission control, silence. Then the bland, chilling report.
We have a report from the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded. Flight director confirms that. We are looking at checking with the recovery forces to see what can be done at this point.
Oh, boy.
All right. Woo! 80s Kids Unite is here. If you're watching this on YouTube or watching it on Spotify, you saw for the intro or you saw the little thumbnail, we are talking about the 1986 Challenger explosion today, but we're going to try and have some fun in what could be a very dark episode.
Yikes.
It's me, Zach, joined with Corey and Diallo as always. And coming back to the show, we haven't seen him since LA Comic-Con. John Toma's back, that 80s dude. Brother, welcome back.
Hey, man. Glad to be here. It's so awesome to see you guys.
I'd been wanting to get John back on the show. It'd been too long, and the opportunity presented itself. I'm like, hey, John, you want to come on this month? And he's like, sure. What are we talking about? And I'm going, the Challenger explosion.
Bro, texted him right back, and I was like, yikes, bro. I mean, you know,
we'll do our best.
How am I supposed to, what are we doing here?
We're about to find out, because there's a couple other fun facts about this is dropping in April. Another traumatic thing happened in April of 86, which we will mention as well. But here's the deal, guys. This show is fueled by Patreon picks. So either on Podcasting After Dark's Patreon or $2 Late Fees Patreon. If you want to go and sign up and be a part of the fun, links are in our show notes for both shows. The patrons suggest the topics. So Magdalena, who's a lifelong listener of our show and big supporter of all of our different shows, she chimed in with a laundry list of picks. And I thought, it's an anniversary show. It's an anniversary of the 40th anniversary of the Challenger explosion. We got to talk about it. Got to talk about it.
I mean, it's such a pivotal moment in the 80s. And it's not the most upbeat discussion, but I mean, it's something that affected all 4 of our lives, and pretty much everybody that grew up in the 80s have some.
Totally.
It was our 9/11, essentially.
So a couple months prior to this, Corey, Diallo, and I talked about The Day After, the TV movie, and shared our own traumatic experiences about dealing with the potential threat of a nuclear explosion happening in the United States. Woo, that ended up being a really fun episode, right, Diallo?
It was cool because we were like getting ready for it. It was actually preparing us for the next few.
If y'all
Dude,
haven't,
that scared the crap out of me, that movie. I'll tell you that.
oh yeah, and if you haven't listened to the TV Obscure episode, definitely check it out. But we all did discover that it's actually a really well-made film, and for better or worse, it holds up today and is fairly relevant to today as well. So it was a
Unfortunately.
yeah, unfortunately. When I know when we went into that episode, I think all three of us kind of expected the movie to be sort of quaint and cheesy. Sadly, it was not. Sadly, it terrified us all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It did. And was there a movie made about the Challenger explosion? Well, yeah, we'll get to that later. But
Called
but
Armageddon.
right, Deep Impact. No, so really quickly, just
I love
to-
that movie. I love
me
that movie.
too. I like Deep Impact as well.
I don't care what anybody says. Somebody told me that they didn't like that movie much. I'm like, F you.
Bro, I watched Dante's Peak the other day. I watched Dante's Peak. Dante's Peak still holds up. Look
Dude,
at
I love
Diallo's laughing
Dante's
so
Peak.
hard. Dante's Peak
You know
is
me with
really-
movies. I have so many things to say about the comparison of Deep Impact and Armageddon. But anyway,
well, yeah, and,
Well,
and
Zach, you know
Make
why
it
I
over
watched
there.
Dante's Peak, right?
because of what's her name?
Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
I'll tell you another movie that is kind of a hit or miss out in public when you ask about it is The Day After Tomorrow, but I liked it.
I
Oh,
like
yeah.
The
I
Day
like
After
that movie.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
The
Dennis
only
Quaid
thing
in that
about
one?
Day After Tomorrow that
Yeah.
bugged me, just like the same thing about Deep Impact that bugged me, I like most of the movie except for like one part makes me go crazy. In Deep Impact, it's when she runs out to the beach at the end to go die,
Oh,
and I'm
Taya
like,
Leone. Yeah.
what are you doing? But then it's like the CGI wolves in the
Oh, yeah,
Day
yeah,
After
yeah.
Tomorrow.
Wolves are bad.
I like the whole movie, but I was like, why just not have wolves? It drove me nuts.
Yeah,
'Cause
why-
it was-
Diallo,
why?
remember the CGI alligators in Eraser, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? Those are terrible
Oh,
too.
yeah,
those are
yeah,
bad. By the
yeah.
way, I have that movie on Laserdisc.
Oh wow.
Okay, y'all, this is not 2000 Kids Unite. This is 80s kids.
Hey, when we go where
Wherever,
the
yeah.
Where the
flow
wind
takes
blows.
us.
I will say, so this
Any way the wind blows.
1986 was a big year for a lot of pop culture moments. A particular movie came out in 1986 that is connected to this tragedy, the Challenger explosion, and we'll talk about that as well with our resident Star Trek expert. Spoiler. But January 28th, 1986, Challenger exploded. It broke apart 73 seconds into its flight. Around 11:30 East Coast time, around 8:30 a.m. West Coast time, obviously. I want to just go roundtable discussion a little bit about like our history of NASA and how we felt about it, and the impact that moment had. Where were you, et cetera, et cetera. John, we'll start with you, dude. Talk to us about your thoughts on the Challenger explosion.
Yeah, man. So I was like 9, almost 10 years old when that happened, and I was in class, and they pulled in the cart. And
Did it screech when it rolled in?
I can't remember if it screeched or not, but don't they all like squeal, right? The wheels or whatever, like they're never lubed correctly. But I do remember that there was some talk about, so we all anticipated it. There was talk about having it, I don't know, that week or whatever, but I guess there was like, oh, we're not doing it today because it's not flying. And then when it finally happened, the cart was rolled in and everybody was like super pumped. I remember the teacher was really pumped about it. And obviously we're always all excited because anytime the cart gets rolled in, it's like, it's the best day ever.
Right.
Until it's not.
Until it's not. And I'll tell you something, as a young kid, and I'm sure you all probably felt the same way, NASA was like, space travel and the talk of NASA and all that was really exciting. Like, you got to think in the 1980s, there was some crazy stuff technologically going on, and to be able to fly into space, like at that time, anything that was going up into space, anything that was space related was super exciting, right? And the fact that a teacher was going to be flying, Krista McCullough, and our teachers were all talking about it. It was the talk of the school. And I just remember when they rolled it in, we were all really pumped and everything. And I don't know about you guys, your experience, because I do know that I spoke to my cousins about this and later in life, and some of them actually went into an auditorium. So they like it was like an assembly, and they would roll a couple carts in, and then they would have the entire school attending. But for us, it was more intimate, and we were in a classroom. I do remember that, and I could just the excitement was there. We were all pumped. We were all excited because we were just like, man, that could be us. Like up to that point, I was like, I could be an astronaut, even and everybody wanted to be an astronaut or firefighter or whatever, police officer. But then when the Challenger exploded, it just got quiet. The teacher started crying like right away. Like she apparently knew like this was a problem. She just started tearing up, and then suddenly like everything was cut off. I feel like there was just no more information. The cart was about to get rolled out, and she was just like, and then she had just told us what happened. Like, what's going on? Was that an explosion? And I just remember several of us were crying. I don't recall myself crying necessarily, but I was like I think I was pretty emotional about it. But I just know that the whole dynamic of the classroom changed, and it was a big deal. I mean, I know that going and leaving school, my parents knew about it. It was a talk for like a few days, within our circle at least, and we were talking about it in class. And I tell you, after that, so recently I was watching, just to kind of wrap this up, I was watching the Netflix leading up to this to our session here. I was watching the Netflix series. It's like a 4-part series. Yeah. And my 8-year-old was watching with us, and he saw what happened because he was kind of like bought into the whole thing too. I was like, yeah, they're going into space, and that's a teacher, et cetera. I explained to him. And as soon as he saw the explosion happen, he was like, did that explode? And I said, yeah. And he's like, I never want to be an astronaut. I never want to go into space. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. It sort of killed the whole vibe at that time. Yeah. But that was my experience. And it is, I wrote about it in my book too. I added in my book because it's such a historically important moment for Gen X.
It really is. Yeah.
That you just have to acknowledge that it happened and it impacted a ton of people all over the world. I don't want to say a silver lining in it, I think, is nationally, globally, it brought so many people together. Like people were emotional about the same thing. And I think had this happened today, and this might be controversial, I'm not sure it would have as much impact, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you agree with me with that, but
did
I just
kind of happen today. And
wasn't it in the early 2000s when that one shuttle came back in and it burned
Columbia.
up? I remember people were like, "Oh, that sucks." Anyways, moving on.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly my point. Yeah. Anyway, but that's my experience in that, and that's why, like, leading up to this whole thing, I was like, boy, I really had to go dive into some locked up memories of the experience, because it was a kind of a traumatic event,
When Krista McAuliffe was chosen to participate in the Space Shuttle program, Richard Methia was among the finalists looking on.
One of the ways to learn best about our planet is to get above it.
He is a New Bedford English high school teacher who cultivated a keen interest in the space program among his students. And today, those students were watching the shuttle liftoff on special television sets situated throughout the school.
The capsule right now is in the Atlantic Ocean.
7 people killed, we believe.
It's equal to a small nuclear blast that just happened right there.
As is the
no chance.
I never knew anything like this could happen to it. This is like shocking. All those people and like that new teacher and all. But I mean, if Mr. Methia would have gone up, it would have been like loss of everything.
I think it takes a lot of courage to go up there, though. I'm sure like everybody was excited, but it was weird how everybody was excited one minute and the next minute just happens.
The students here at New Bedford High School were especially interested in this space shuttle mission. Preparations began months ago to participate in the Teacher in Space program.
Yeah, John, I watched that documentary. I think it's a couple years old now. I watched it when it first came out. It took me a little bit of time to get through it because it was, kind of depressing, kind of bringing up some memories. And at the time, I was like, I want something happy right now. I don't want this, but I did want to make it through there. And yeah, it's actually it's a good documentary,
Yeah,
so check it
absolutely.
out.
Yeah, I will
Totally.
say that, for context as well, and I think this hits harder home for many kids, mostly kids, because there was a teacher on board. And I believe originally Carol Spiney was supposed to be on there, who played Big Bird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Big Bird was supposed to
Big
originally be
Bird's
on there.
supposed to be
Yeah.
there.
So,
Yeah.
and then, obviously things changed, and I thank kind of God for that, because that would have really fractured further childhood memories if Big Bird died in the Challenger explosion. It's tragic either way. And
The
then the
day the
other
Big
little
Bird died.
God. And then the other side note is, I believe SpaceCamp was supposed to be released around this time,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
delayed it until June for good reason. SpaceCamp obviously celebrating its 40th anniversary with, Leah Thompson and Kate Capshaw and Tate Donovan, et cetera, et cetera. Leaf Phoenix, aka Joaquin.
They came to Space Camp with a dream of becoming astronauts.
I want to be the first female shuttle commander.
Suddenly, without warning,
We have overheat on booster B.
America's most unlikely heroes were launched into space.
Do it.
Space Camp, the sneak preview. This summer's greatest adventure is about to begin. Rated PG.
They delayed that as well. But yeah, your reflection, John, of what went on, I think is very similar to all of us. We'll get to everybody, obviously. John, this was in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this was
Detroit,
an East
Michigan,
Coast
man.
deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
Michigan, Midwest, East Coast. Corey, you were also on the East Coast,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Maryland, right?
Yep, in Maryland, outside of DC.
Take us into your little tragic moment.
Yeah, so it was 86, so I was 8 years old. I had to ask Zach, I was like, what grade was I in? And I was probably in third at that
Probably.
point. Yeah, because I wasn't like ahead or anything, so I was probably in third, which means I was actually at my new school. But yeah, it's similar to John, my experience. I don't remember it as clearly because again, I was like a couple years younger. But there's moments that are burned into my brain. And John, same as you, we were in the classroom, so it was intimate. The teacher brought in the TV, and you're still at that age, 8 years old. I'm aware of things, but still I'm in my own little bubble of a world. So I'm excited for it. I understand that there's a teacher on board. The space shuttle is awesome to me, like space is awesome to me. I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. Space rules,
Yeah.
and maybe I'll be an astronaut one day. And yeah, same situation where, we saw it in real time, 11:39 a.m. So this is probably right before recess.
Yeah.
Actually, I know it was because after it happened, I remember our teacher keeping us in for recess and basically talking to all of us. I can't remember if she was, shaken or not, but like what I do remember was that she spent the time to let us ask questions and engage us. And even if I don't know, I doubt she had all the answers, but what I remember is that she gave us the space to sit with it. She gave us the ability to kind of actually experience our emotions as opposed to being like, okay, just go out to recess now. And then I think that would have been tragic. That would have been devastating if kids had to just go out to recess and within each other, like with their own little groups, have to try to figure this out. So I don't remember who my teacher was. Hell, I don't remember what she looks like, but I remember that I always be grateful that she took the time to like listen to us. She asked us for theories, like, why do you think it happened? And everyone sort of posed theories. And yeah, that's all I remember of the day is talking about it. But it wasn't one of those things where he talked about it at nausea. It felt therapeutic. Looking back on it now, it was therapeutic. And I think that Zach, that's a good teacher right there, right?
Well, yeah, it is, and surprising actually for the 1980s for a teacher to say, "Let's talk about this," and more progressive, I think, than maybe the other three experiences we had. But more appropriate too. That's how you would handle it, because we all were watching.
Yeah,
It wasn't like it just happened and then we got a memo from the teacher got a memo from the principal or whatever saying, "Don't turn on the TV yet." We were all live at the same time.
And yeah, I don't think there's a delay. I mean, this thing was 100% live, pumped right into and it was on purpose. Like, they didn't launch it on the weekend. They launched it on the weekday. So this was this was a giant media thing to promote NASA and the space shuttle program and everything, and to get a whole new group, a whole generation of kids excited about it, and everything. And wow, and then sadly, like, we've only found out in the last few years that a lot of the astronauts were actually still alive when the shuttle hit water. Like, I'm glad we didn't know that back then. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's taken me 40 years to have that and be able to not destroy me emotionally.
And that they didn't have ejection seats in that one in particular, which is terrible, right? But my cousins were let go early from school, and that's how bad it was, right?
Yeah.
And we weren't let go early, but they went to they were better off financially. I think the wealthier schools let the kids. I wasn't.
Parents deal
I
with
was
it.
in. I was at Grayling, which is no longer there. It was burned down in a fire a couple times, and then it was.
Keep the tragedy going.
Yeah, it was. Then it was demolished and all that, and
keep going.
Yeah, but we.
Then there was a family of squirrels underneath it.
Yeah, they're a 7 mile. They were like, you're staying in school today, no matter what, But
yeah, I mean, we're like, well, we'll get to my experience as well, but Diallo, you were a little bit older than us, obviously, and you were in middle school when this happened?
I was in high school when it happened.
In high school, okay.
It was, I think I was a sophomore around that time.
In the Bay Area, right? So West Coast.
Yeah.
Damn, Diallo, you were in high school, bro?
Yeah.
You look good. You look good, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Get that a lot.
This episode sponsored by Nugenics.
Yeah.
Soylent Green. That's what Diallo drinks.
It's people.
The substance.
Yeah. This is gonna get. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit differently, because this kind of like showed me that I have psychic powers when I was in high school.
Like Matthew Starr?
Yeah. No, because I used to. This is really, this is a true story, and whatever. But I used to like. When I was in like growing up, I would like wake up some mornings and just be like, something happens today. And it was like, it's almost like I was thinking of it in past tense, you know?
Yeah.
And it would like always like would bear out. It was really weird to me. So like just a few examples. I remember there was like a bombing in it was like Reagan bombed somewhere in I forget Libya or something. And there was something else that happened. I can't remember. But then there was one morning I woke up and I had that feeling, and then I had happened a few times, right? And then I was like, okay, let me look at the news to see, and nothing happened all day. And I was like, oh, that was weird. And then the next day I looked at the news and it was Chernobyl, which had happened a few days prior, but they didn't like let the world know until later. So it was that stuff was really weird to me always.
Wow.
So that
we'll get
happened.
to Chernobyl in a minute.
Yeah, but that happened for this. So I remember waking up that day, and I actually was home because I woke up that day, felt like something was weird. I had watched all of the launches up to that date actually, because I hyper fixation with NASA. I'm a fan of NASA just like every other kid, but like I had like magazines and patches, and I just shared a link that you can maybe show it where I had this poster on my wall that had like a diagram of the space shuttle, and I like the history of all the launches and that kind of stuff. So
classic poster, by the way. I love that. I've seen that poster.
Yeah, I used to have that on my wall, and
for those of you listening, go to our YouTube and watch it. You can see the image that Diallo sent us.
Yeah, so I was like kind of like everybody else, but I just that was my hyperfixation at the same time, along with comic books. And so I was sick that day too, so I was actually at home watching it.
Wow. Okay, this is a twist.
Yeah. So I was at home watching it that day, so I was kind of by myself. I don't know, so it was kind of weird, but I kind of feel, I don't know, like I was teenage boy that's still on the younger end. So I was like stupid, right? So I don't it wasn't like it was sad, obviously, but it wasn't like I wasn't like overwhelmed with emotion. I was almost probably like sociopathically teenager about it, like, oh, those guys, whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe because you were alone too. Like because we were around other people and everybody was acting was being emotional or reacting to the whole thing. It
Yeah.
kind of influenced us in some way, right? And then I think with
Right.
like Corey, you said I think you were 8 or something, and I was almost 10,
Hmm.
and so for us it was far more impressionable. I think being around others, but
Yeah. And it wasn't, and like I think the one of the obviously why we all were watching it was because of the branding and marketing behind it, because the teacher was on it. So it
Right.
just brought everybody together. And then because of that, we watched the story of it too, like go all the way up. It wasn't just like, oh, they're launching a show. Like
Yeah.
we watched the selection and all the like Today Show appearance, whatever show, Good Morning
We
America.
watched the whole season, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah,
finale
right,
hits, you
right,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, this was the
And so that's
finale.
why it
Yeah.
even had a greater impact. For me, it was slightly like because again because of my hyperfixation, I was really into watching, like I knew all of the launches, like going way back to like Mercury program and all this stuff. So I knew about, like, I think it was like Apollo 1, whatever, the astronauts that died on the launch
Mm,
pad, and
yeah.
knew about some Russian dudes. It would always like terrify me. I remember they just their parachute didn't deploy. They just like crashed. And just thinking about the horror of that. So I was like kind of had this perspective about those programs, that it wasn't like they were just you know free from any kind of tragedy. So I think it
Right.
it hit me, but like in a kind of different way. But it's just like, oh, this is one in another line of trying to get to space. Um, so, anyways, it was. I mean, it was terrible. And luckily, it never happened again until it happened again.
But Diallo, do you know if your school did anything
I
to?
don't remember them really doing anything. I remember coming to school the next day and people were talking about it.
Okay.
And they were people, I remember hearing people's stories about, like, oh, so we were in so and so's class and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. But I don't think we really did anything. I don't think we really did anything special about it. But I don't know. I lived in San Francisco. We had stuff go down in our school that
Yeah.
was like, personally tragic multiple times. So I don't know how I don't know. I might have not processed all of
Well,
it.
yeah, that gotta imagine being on. It's also on the other coast. Like it's so far away at that point, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. I just maybe it was because I was in high school, maybe.
Yeah.
I think so. I think, and
Yeah.
also emotionally, your maturity wise, you're in a different headspace.
Yeah, like literally when I said like I was a young teenage boy, I think that had a lot to do with, like, stuff could happen. You're just like, "Ugh,"
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
dude, I was a certified asshole in high school. I would probably have the same reaction. I do want to see really quick though, Diallo. I know what you mean by that feeling. When I remember 9/11 vividly. I
Mhm.
was in college. I was living with just two other college guys. So like we weren't like I woke up to like one of those alarms that was just a beep,
Yeah.
and I spent the whole morning I didn't have this was 2001, so I didn't have any podcasts and headphones, no
Yeah.
computer or nothing. So I was just making my breakfast with like no connection to the
Mhm.
outside world, but yet I can still remember feeling like something was off. Like
Yeah.
today is
Hmm.
weird. Today there's a haze, there's a fall. And I remember when I left to go to school because I had to drive there. I saw my neighbor across the street who was a police officer. I was outside of Baltimore. She's running to her car, and I'm like, wonder what's going on there. Got into my car, didn't listen to the radio, just put in, a CD, was listening to that. But I still was like, as I was going to school, I was like, something's wrong right now,
You
and I
sound
don't
like
know
the guy
what it
in
is.
the beginning of a zombie movie
Oh
that
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah, it's totally
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead, bro. Shaun, but
It's
the
Mothman
point is, I
prophecies.
get it. I get what you
Mhm.
were saying with that. You can just feel like it's almost like the psychic reverberance or something,
Yeah, I mean that happened to me in 9/11 too. But I remember I literally woke up and be like, I remember saying it today. It's like September 11th. Something happens today. Like I literally said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that it was just because I had done research on this naval battle in War of 1812, and it happened on the same day that I had studied. So maybe that's why I thought of it. But yeah, it
Interesting.
is it is interesting how that stuff happens. But I also like kind of rejected. I think right around that time I rejected The Shine. and I that power, and I because I didn't want it because I was went to fundamental
The shinin.
Christian schools
You
and
mean the
stuff. So
shine?
yeah,
You don't get us sued.
yeah.
I mean,
the
we
shine.
will be doing an episode further down the road on satanic panic and what
Oh man, I have a
metal
lot
and
to say about
D&D.
that.
Yeah, so more tragedy to come, courtesy of Magdalena from our Patreons. And if you want to join the fun and give us some suggested topics like that, join our Patreons. Links are in the show notes. I will say, just circling back to the emotional tip, and you being a teenager, and John and Corey and I being kids, because I was also in fourth grade as you were, John, 9 going on 10. We space was to be wondered and marveled, right? As little kids, you're watching Reading Rainbow, and LeVar Burton is talking about space, and the librarians, recommending space books. If you like this, you'll like that. And just this idea that it's this thing that you could achieve someday and you could be just like them. And the teacher on that plane is just like your teacher in your classroom.
Because she wasn't an astronaut, right?
She wasn't. She was basically,
yeah.
But she just went through some training
she trained.
and
Yeah,
everything.
they had like a national thing, and then
But ultimately, it was like she's one of us. She's not an astronaut, so one of us could go up.
Yeah,
which makes it all the more just insanely tragic.
Right. And so I think, to your point, John, about being less affected by it now, we see people going up in space all the time now who are like, okay, yeah. But back then,
we don't care, Katy Perry.
Yeah, I was gonna say some people could just
Krista
stay up there.
McCullough already went up.
I wasn't.
See, I already forgot about Katy Perry and all that.
I did not want to mention her name, but
we don't care, Gail.
No, we don't care.
Bestie.
But I will say, Christina McAuliffe was, she was like, she was us. She represented everybody. And that was, and obviously, and I want to comment on the fact that the commander, the pilot, Dick Scobie, will be brought up again in just a moment as well. But really quickly, my experience is very similar to the three of you. I think to the more of the younger side, where I was in fourth grade and it was 8:39 in the morning, and we were just starting out school, and it was a whole event. And that was the other thing too. Everybody was a part of it. We were all in on it together. So it was a shared experience. And I remember my fourth grade teacher, again, will remain nameless because I forgot her name, and for good reason, because she rolled in that screeching cart, turned it on. She was a jerk. She was a super uncaring fourth grade teacher, treated us. It was she was terrible. Anyways, it happened. My buddy Jason Brown, who sat in the front row, turns around, looks at me with his mouth agape, and mine too. And then
that's so crazy, bro. Because, not to interrupt you, but I had a friend. His name was Brian Brown.
Whoa!
I know.
This is okay. I was living in the Bay Area though. I wasn't in Detroit at the time because I just moved.
Are you Bizarro, John?
Yeah, what is going on? Yes, John and I have very shared experiences.
Yeah.
So,
were you split at birth? You both are from Detroit. This is the sitcom.
This is twins too, bro.
John's got the gray in his beard. I got it on my hair.
Night, bro.
Yeah. So my teacher walks over to the TV right after it happens, turns the TV off, wheels the cart away, and sends us off to recess. No questions asked. And like an early recess.
Kids.
Yeah. It was no discussion at all about the whole thing. And I think I was like, it was one of those traumatic moments where, like me watching Terminator by myself and seeing Linda Hamilton looking just like my mom, and then a very interesting scene come up going,
same thing.
Scarred for life. I was scarred for life.
Oh no!
I'm gonna go back in time and be your daddy.
Yeah.
Hey, you're gonna have to tell me about this later on, bro.
Oh, dude.
Oh boy.
You know the story. Because I thought I was the only one who thought Linda Hamilton was hot.
Oh, I love Linda Hamilton, baby.
Oh man.
Go ahead. So anyways, yeah, we'll get to that later. Going there. Anyways, it was so traumatic and we had no way to process it.
Did John travel back through time and have?
He did.
Max mom,
John Connor is what is going on here?
And then they had twins.
Zach's story's his trauma's totally derailed right now.
This definitely accelerated very quickly into a whole different thing.
I do want to say on a pop culture tip outside of this traumatic moment, Ronald Reagan, our president at the time, Ronald Reagan was supposed to give a State of the Union address. He obviously did not. He addressed the nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd planned to speak to you tonight to report on the State of the Union. But the events of earlier today have led me to change those plans. Today is a day for mourning and remembering. Nancy and I are pained to the core by the tragedy of the Shuttle Challenger. We know we share this pain with all of the people of our country. This is truly a national loss.
Many years later, in 1990, a television movie was made where Barry Bostwick, from Megaforce, our man, he played Dick Scobie. Karen Allen played Christina McAuliffe.
Sunday.
Krista, how do you feel? I feel good.
They were America's hope for the future.
What's it like to be up there in space? You don't want to come back.
The commander and the pilot, backed up by a team of 3 mission specialists, a civilian from Hughes Aircraft, and a school teacher named Krista McAuliffe.
You're not scared. Neither am I.
That's the way you have to feel when you're an astronaut. Karen Allen, Barry Bostwick.
You're a wonderful crew. All right, that's great.
Challenger, Sunday at 8, 7 Central.
I haven't seen that TV movie. I kind of want to now because what a cast.
Dude, what's it called? Do you know?
It's simply called Challenger.
The Day the Children Cried.
And White Lion played that. When the children cry. Okay, but the flip side, like I mentioned earlier, SpaceCamp came out in 86, clearly delayed that movie. I really love that movie too. Again, it was weird because it's like it kind of reignited your idea of like, oh, we could do this. We could go into space. And maybe obviously the studio put it out, the same year, didn't delay it. It is what it is. But Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, came out in 1986.
Admiral Kirk is being court-martialed.
There shall be no peace as long as Kirk lives.
Spock has lost his memory.
It's me, McCoy. You really have gone where no man's gone before.
They're going back in time to explore the strangest world of all.
Many of their customs will doubtless take us by surprise.
You guys like Italian?
No. Yes. No. Yes.
Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, rated PG. Now playing.
And I bring that up specifically because they dedicated the opening of their film to the disaster. With the opening tagline, it said, "The cast and crew of Star Trek wish to dedicate this film to the men and women of the spaceship Challenger, whose courageous spirit shall live to the 23rd century and beyond."
That's awesome.
Our resident expert on Star Trek, Diallo, did you see Star Trek IV in the theater?
I don't think I did.
What are your thoughts on Star Trek IV? And did you like that one, or is this going to go down the tragic route?
It's actually funny. I was thinking about it.
Gosh.
I actually think the first Star Trek movie I think I saw in theaters was 6. Now that I think about it,
wow, not 7.
Wow. I hate that movie. Anyway,
what about Star Trek IV though?
That's the Voyage Home, right?
Yeah, that's the one with the whales.
I saw all of them. I saw them all on video.
It's the whales. What are your thoughts on Star Trek IV? Are you a fan of that one or not?
Yeah, it's great. It was it was I think it was directed by Nicholas Meyer. It was a loop back, I believe. He directed all the good original crew ones. So
okay.
Although I do love 1. I actually love all of them except 5 that was directed by William Shatner.
I'm going to correct you. It was actually directed by Leonard Nimoy.
Oh yeah, that's right. That is right. Correct.
But Nicholas Meyer wrote the screenplay.
Okay. But again, like he wrote the screenplay, so he has like a magic touch when it comes to Star Trek, which is really interesting because he's the one that sort of like set it on the map with 2, and he redefined the look and the feel and the vibe of it. And it's interesting because he was not a fan at all. So
he was not a fan of
Star Trek. He just he kind of didn't give a crap about it. Like he wasn't like, how like today with like Marvel movies were like, oh, he needs to be a fan, and he wasn't. But he just had a take. He had a take that like he had the naval look, and so brought all that stuff in. Those uniforms that they had were like all of his touches. But so you don't have to be like a hyper fan. Anyway.
Well, that's kind of like Tony Gilroy with Andor. He's not like a huge
Star Wars
I
actually asked him that. I actually
Oh.
asked them that. Yeah, yeah. I was like, because I had a theory because it was so that Andor was so good.
Yeah.
And I was like, I asked him, I was like, yeah, I have a theory. Did you like it? He was like, oh yeah, we never really watched it. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's sometimes they're when they're not precious about the because you know who wasn't precious about Star Wars content was
Buffalo
George
Bill.
Lucas. Like he was like
Mm-hmm.
you know, when he wanted to do something in a sequel movie, he was you
Yeah.
know, when
Oh, he
like
did it.
someone would be like, oh well, that contradicts, you know, whatever, and he's like, I
Yeah.
don't care. It's
Yeah.
he didn't
And
care.
yeah.
He was the least precious about Star Wars content.
That's one of
But
my complaints about Star
that
Wars now.
being said, like I actually saw Star Trek 4 in the theater. I
Okay.
liked
Yeah.
that movie as a kid.
Mhm.
Diallo, I'm actually like you. My favorite Star Trek, well, maybe not like you, but my favorite Star Trek is the motion picture, the first one. I could watch the Enterprise fly over V'ger for, you know,
Yeah.
8 minutes
It's
long.
very just like it's so
Especially when you're
majestic.
smoking. It's
Corey-
you're toking a little bit.
Corey,
It's
do you
awesome.
remember? Do you remember the title card in the beginning of the movie, the dedication?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, it was all Zach's like, can we talk about this? No, it was, I remember it. And I remember, even though I'm young, I could still remember like, oh, that's nice. Like that's important. That's meaningful. And then I watched the movie and I didn't enjoy it as much when I was younger, but I do like it more now. I wanted more spaceship battles, you know, and everything. Although I did like when Spock knocked the kid out on the bus
That was great. That was
Oh,
great.
the bus.
John, did you see Star Trek 4 in the theater?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't see any of the Star Trek films before in the theater before the 90s.
Okay. Okay. How about
yes.
Space Camp? Were you a fan of that film back in the day?
So yes. So back in the day, as I got older and I saw it a couple more times, I kind of started to poke, you know, your kind of like more mature self. I'm just like, I'm annoyed by the robot, a little bit.
I forgot about that.
You know, so like, I really try to go into it now. Like if I'm showing it off to one of as the kids get a little older and I let them watch certain movies, now I just kind of go in and I just relax and try to take all those filters out and watch some of these movies over again. But I was going to say, you know, the way that I wanted to travel into space before the whole Challenger thing happened was the way explorers did it.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, which was an interesting thing. It was a year before that.
Right.
And that had River Phoenix in it, right? So since we're talking about SpaceCamp too. But anyway, yeah. So I today, if you ask me if I do enjoy SpaceCamp rewatching it. I do enjoy like Inner Space rewatching it.
Going into space bodies.
Yeah. But there have been moments as I've aged where I have a little bit of a distaste for certain things in the films. Just like you were mentioning the wolves in The Day After Tomorrow. But yeah. But I try to I hated
that from day one.
disarm myself when I'm rewatching films, you know. But I will tell you what movie I will watch over and over again and never not like anything about it. Okay, The Barbarians with the Barbarian brothers.
The Barbarian brothers.
I will watch that.
Double Trouble. That's our Double Trouble.
Yeah,
Where
right.
is that thing? It's over here.
That's who it was.
The
Yeah.
Barbarian brothers.
What are they?
watch
Paul
that.
and David Paul and Don Paul or something like that?
Yeah. I will watch that any time, any day.
Everyone knows that being a barbarian can be fun.
I knew that.
But not everyone knows just how difficult it is to be recognized as one.
Fatty? Me?
In fact, most barbarians are constantly fighting a battle of mistaken identity.
Gore! You bloody idiot! It's me! Kuchek, your brother!
And there's no telling what that can lead to. That is why the Barbarian brothers wear these official barbaric fashions whenever they go pillaging. And now you can too. Made of a heavyweight cotton blend, these barbaric tanks, tees, sweats, and shorts are puff printed to give them that really pumped up look and feel. And they're available in a variety of styles and designs that make them perfect for almost any barbaric outing.
Where is it? It's probably by my other.
Probably in your VHS player, bro.
VHS player,
Yeah, it's stuck in there.
You're like, I was just watching
On your
it this
favorite
morning.
scene.
By the way, I love the score in that movie. So that's another. Where the hell is it?
The Barbarians. Nice.
No, I guarantee you, it's in.
I did not know we were
I've got
gonna do a
4
Barbarians
VCRs. It's probably one of my VCRs.
Well, John, I think, like I said to Diallo, we're going to have a Satanic Panic Dungeons and Dragons centered episode, but we obviously have to talk about the lore of Dungeons and Dragons like films back in the day in the 80s, because it was all about that. It was all about that.
I mean, the cartoon, right? Too.
Yeah. Right. And so, you mentioned, first of all, you mentioned explorers, and I think I can speak for myself and say I tried really hard to go to a junkyard and put all those pieces together to build my own ship, and I couldn't do it for some reason. Because
we didn't have. Was it the Thunder Road or the
Thunder Road?
Yeah. I gotta show you something kind of cool from my collection. Keep talking.
While John is going to get it, I will say that we didn't have River Phoenix as our scientist, resident scientist nerd. Yeah. I was not smart enough to put even a battery sometimes into a toy. John is getting a large stack of VHS tapes for all of you listening to this.
So this is in my queue. This is my queue right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I don't see Barbarians in there.
No, yeah.
Because it's stuck in his VCR. It's stuck in the VCR.
Let me show you. And I've got Clerks over there on the top on
Hell
DVD.
Yeah, baby. Hell
yeah. Inner Space, by the way, still is hilarious. And Martin Short is a national treasure. Completely love everything about him. And Dennis Quaid's all right in it. But man, oh man.
Let me show you something.
VHS.
So this was from Hollywood Video, from my time in Hollywood Video. I used to work at Hollywood Video.
Yes, we have to have you on Tales from the Video Store to talk about that.
Faux show. But the interesting thing about this one is the actual box, the actual VHS box was cut.
Yeah, they
put into this. Ugh. Yeah, they razored it. Not only they razor it, but whoever did it, I feel like I just want to find that person and punch him right in the face. But
it's heartbreaking.
But they also razored the center of the actual spine.
No.
Yeah, look at that. Who the hell does that?
John's holding up his VHS tape, and
might have happened when they were pulling it out of the box when they were
could be. But there's a special place in hell for that kind of person. Anyway, so then there's the Hollywood Video
sticker
classic there, and the thing I love about this is always I just love the main label, and I like the Paramount logo on there. They've been in the news a little bit lately.
Yeah, they have. What's the tagline on Hollywood Video? What was their tagline on the spine of the tape?
Your home of the stars.
Okay,
that's what it says. Your home of the stars.
Sure.
How did we never? And even now, there's no model kit for the Thunder Road. There's no.
Well,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
I will say, and shout out to, people at Comic-Cons and whatnot, there are a fair amount of artists out there who make 3D model kits of Thunder Road.
Oh, cool.
And so you can find them at cons. I've seen them several times.
You know something, just before I forget this train of thought, but not to shamelessly plug something, but I just dropped issue 3 of Nostalgia Nation magazine today, actually, on my website.
Oh, go to John's website. Links
it's free. It's free for everyone. It's in a flip book format with a noise and all that. It's really cool, right? But my point is the guy that I put into the spotlight, the content creator spotlight, is David Miniatures. Have you guys heard of that guy?
Yeah, David, follow him on Instagram. He's amazing.
That dude does miniature stuff like he's hired by everybody, all the big names. He's done stuff for Stranger Things. He's done stuff for Tom Cruise. He did the Batman '89 stuff also for these major studios. But anyway, I'm going to send him a message and I'm going to say, can you do something for Explorers? Maybe the scene outside when they're putting the thing with the bike against the fence, the BMX bikes against the fence, and do something like that. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah, David Miniatures, he does a lot of Los Angeles landmarks as well.
Okay.
And will recreate, for example, like Shakey's Pizza or something like that, and make a authentic storefront of what it looked like back then.
I just went there, and he's got one for My Favorite Friends episode, the one where the Ross is like they're moving the couch. It's like pivot. That's right there on the front page.
Oh man,
I'll put a link. Shout out to David's Miniatures. I'll put a link in in our show notes.
I'll let them know. I let them know we plugged them in here too. But yeah, I just thought when Corey said that, I'm like, dude, David Miniatures has to do an Explorers, and he's in the '80s. He loves, that's the decade he loves.
Well,
so
might have to have him on the show.
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
cool.
I will say this. So as we wrap up, because we could probably go another 2 more hours, 80s Kids Unite is all about celebrating the highs and lows of this decade we're a part of. And
well, the lows, I mean, the highs and lows make us who we are today. And this is why Gen X is the way Gen X is.
Yeah.
Right. And John wrote about it in his book Nostalgic Nation, and Nostalgia Nation, you can order that. The links in our show notes as well to John's website, et cetera, et cetera. Please get a copy of it. And when you see him, he'll sign it for you. He won't even charge you. Well, maybe he will. I don't know.
Hey,
don't take money away from John.
You know what? Just give the guy money.
He'll give you the book. He'll just give you the book.
Yeah, you see John on the street, he'll just give it to you.
I'm just saying, some magic will happen. Let us know in the show notes, please, or let us know in the comments what your experience was with this event. Really quickly, Chernobyl happened in April of '86 as well. It was terrible, horrible. We're just going to leave it at that for now, and we'll maybe come back to it at another time. But I think for all intents and purposes, we handled this fairly well, all things considered.
Yeah.
We all are going through ups and downs right now. So we all need to love each other and show each other support and just be there for each other in any way we can. So we hope this was therapeutic for you to laugh and to cry and sha-na-na-na, all that good stuff. I don't know. Last words, Diallo, got any last final words for closing us out?
Just when you think you're all by yourself, you're not. No, I actually did apply for a SpaceCamp. I forgot about that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I didn't get to go, and now that I'm older, I'm realizing it's because we probably didn't have money for it. But
okay,
that
would probably help a little bit. Yeah,
but I thought, at the time, I thought I was being denied it or something. But anyways,
Capricorn 1, bro. Capricorn 1. It's all conspiracy. It's not even real.
It is interesting because it's I don't want to make this go too long, but a lot of times
we're wrapping it up.
Yeah, a lot of times this is going to be a very '80s kind of discussion, is because sometimes people, I see this. I might have talked about this before. We'll see like a meme or something that's like the time from today till 1995 is the same distance from 1985 to the 55 or whatever for Back to the Future, and people always try to make it about the time difference, like literally the counter, but I'm like, that's not the point. The reason why the 80s is so, I think, remembered and felt the way it is because it was a transition of the world from one way to another way. You type like the 80s was like that transition area where like electronics and like all this stuff that was we'd never really seen before was coming out, and then the way we express art changed because of technology and stuff that hadn't existed before. The music in the 80s is so distinct compared to any other era.
Best.
Yeah. And so that's why it's remembered. So when I'm thinking about the space shuttle in that time, we have this, because it was like, we're going to space in a way that we have never gone before, in a shuttle, it can return and all this stuff. And so that's why it's important, not just because it just happened. I know it's a little long-winded, but I just wanted to put some framework around it. And that's why that's why it is what it is. And so, you could I like the 90s a lot. But it's sort of like when I hear music from the late 90s to today, it's almost like it's all the same to me. Like I like a lot of songs now, but there's not like a distinct flavor to it. But like when you take that time period, like the space shuttle, like the art, the shows, Kate and Allie, like it's all like, I'm serious about Kate and Allie because it was like divorced moms. Like there's all these things that just we hadn't really talked about before. And we were like the first time we were having like public conversations about it. So that's why the 80s is. That's why, if you're wondering why.
I love it.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the best way to close this out. Would you guys agree? I think that's the best way. That's
very thoughtful.
Very thoughtful.
I mean, that's what I do.
That's what he does. This is what he does. Links in our show notes to follow Diallo, John, Corey, me, et cetera. And I think we'll have Kate and Allie play us out. How about that? A little bit of Kate and Allie to get us through this, and give yourself a personal hug, because that works too. Love y'all, and we'll see you next time on 80s Kids Unite.
Bye,
guys.
Later.
Just when you think there's no one around who's caring, along comes a friend who offers a hand in sharing, then things start looking fine. Sometimes tears and sorrow are all the things you've got. Just when you think you're all by yourself, you're not.
80s Kids Unite is brought to you by Hungry Hungry Hippos, the loudest tabletop game in history. And by Nickelback, Zach's favorite band. If you'd like to suggest topics for this show, go to the Patreon of either $2 late fee or Podcasting After Dark, or both. All links are in the show notes. We love you.